In 1851, one of the largest glass structures ever built appeared in London, covering 18 acres, nearly 1 million square feet, measuring 1,848 feet long, 408 feet wide, and rising 108 feet at the central transept. This was by no means a last-minute construction. According to history, it was designed, manufactured, and assembled in under a year, and that's where the questions begin. At first glance, it sounds like a triumph of the Industrial Revolution, but when you look closer, some details don't quite line up. The Crystal Palace covered roughly 19 acres and used over 4,000 tons of iron. It required 1,000 iron columns, more than 2,200 trellis girders, and 600,000 cubic feet of timber. It wasn't just large, it was precise, modular, repetitive, and built to fit together cleanly the first time. The structure used approximately 239,000 panes of glass, many of them curved to match the roof's radius. In the mid-1800s, glass production was slow, fragile, and prone to defects. Yet over 250,000 panes were produced, transported, and installed with virtually no recorded delays. In a 39-week build schedule, there was no margin for widespread breakage. Today, projects of this size rely on advanced software to manage stress, tolerances, drainage, and sequencing. Even with modern tools, large exhibition halls take years to design. The Crystal Palace achieved speed, precision, and coordination without digital modeling or simulation. This doesn't look like an experimental structure. It looks like a mature system. The site itself raises more questions. The grounds featured fountains, walkways, drainage systems, and permanent landscaping. A railway line ran directly beside the property, not something typically built for a short-term event. Long after the building was gone, the land remained a landmark. The city grew around it. What's often overlooked is that the Crystal Palace wasn't simply dismantled after the exhibition. It was moved, rebuilt, expanded, and given a permanent home at Sydenham Hill. This wasn't a small undertaking. It meant disassembling massive iron components, removing and transporting thousands of glass panes, and reconstructing the structure on elevated terrain, all without modern logistics or machinery. That raises a simple question. Why invest so much effort into preserving a structure that was supposedly temporary? Modern exhibition sites, fairgrounds, expo centers, and large civic complexes are rarely temporary in practice. They evolve, adapt, and are reused over generations. The Crystal Palace appears to have followed the same pattern, not as a one-time event, but as part of a long-term site strategy. Temporary buildings are usually forgotten. The Crystal Palace was preserved, relocated, and recommitted to before it was finally erased. I'm not saying the Crystal Palace couldn't have been built in the 1850s. I'm saying the speed, scale, coordination, and long-term investment don't align with how we're usually taught that era functioned. Maybe this wasn't the beginning of something new, but the continuation of something older. History often preserves the structure, but loses the context.